Hey everyone, it's Rick Carson. We're at the beautiful Maple Leaf Studios, and today I'm just going to go over some Meld mixing and stereo concepts. So the first thing that I want to talk about is using Meld as a drum bus compressor. So let me show you that right now. So we've got a little live recording that was done by some of our friends here at the studio, and it's nothing too serious, but we're going to use it for our example. And the first thing is we can see we have Meld across all of our tracks. Everything in the session has Meld, and if we go pull up an instance of Meld, you will see that represented in the browser. So you can see that we have all of our drum tracks here, and they're already in group A. We have our bass in B. We have our live guitar and our trumpet. We have some Verb. This was recorded from a Yamaha Reverb live off the floor. And then we have a room mic that's in its own group. So the first thing I want to go and do is create a drum bus utilizing Meld. So I'm going to do that with our A group. So I'm going to go and I want to go to our bus compressor. So I'm going to enable shared sidechain support, and I'm going to go and make sure that all of my compressors are linked because I want those all to be reacting together. And I'm going to go watch my kick, and I'm going to set my threshold. You can see that I'm getting the same amount of gain reduction. So what I'm going to go and do now is I'm going to add a little bit of makeup gain to make up for the level that I'm taking away. And right there, we have a bus compressor. So we can see that we are compressing about 3 dB and we're making up about 3 dB worth of level, but you can hear that it's not just on the kick, it's across everything. All of the rooms, all the overheads, they all come alive. So let's turn off Meld for that group. And let's turn it back on. And that just does a great job of helping everything move together in a way that I think sounds awesome. But let's talk about the floating mix properties of Meld. So what Ari brought up with a floating bus is now that we have this going on, say we like this and we love how our compressor's sounding, but say we want a little bit more hi-hat and we don't want to squish the hi-hat more. I can go and just turn up this just a little bit so I got more level. Let's continue on using Meld to set up this drum bus a little bit more. So one, let's go ahead and add some EQ to our drum bus. So we'll just add a little bit of 100, and we'll add just a little bit of 10K, some very classic frequencies. We'll listen to what that sounds like. So now let's go ahead and turn Meld off for the whole bus. And you can tell that everything's coming to life, and you can definitely hear our rebalance that we have going on with our hi-hat, definitely driving the song a little bit forward. And I love the way that that sounds. Let's go ahead and try using Mixhead just to roll off a little bit of high end. I think that sounds great. Awesome vibe. So now let's go into the bass. So if we go to the bass here, you'll see that what we've done on the compression and EQ did not transfer over because the bass is in group B and everything else that we did was in group A. So that bus processing that happened within Meld all happened in group A, but now we're on B, and B is a single track of bass. So while we are technically in a group, what we're going to be doing is more like channel strip work. So let's go ahead and set this up. I usually like a 4:1 on a bass, so we'll set up a 4:1 ratio, and we'll give it a little bit of a softer knee just to make it, more like a DBX over easy. And then the attack, we can make that a little bit faster. We'll make the release pretty fast to 1176 style. Let's go and let's start with our compressor and see where we end up. So, while I do believe it's helping a little bit, I think we can go a lot heavier handed. And let's go ahead and solo this right in Meld. So let's, we want to get this thing driving. That's definitely feeling better. It feels a lot bigger. I'm going to go add maybe a little bit more 1K just to try and get it cut through even. And that feels great. So now let's go ahead and go after this guitar here. So I just want to go, I'm going to use this limiter. I want to rip off the tops of these guitars with this limiter. But with that, I'm changing the level. So I'm going to go ahead and rebalance that. And then I'm going to go and I want to work on this trumpet a little bit. I do need to compress this. Let's go ahead and treat this more like a vocal. So we'll hit it 4-1, 1176 style. And I'm going to go, I want this to be a super soft knee. And I want to make this more like LA2A style. Longer release, maybe like somewhere in the 40s. Push this out towards 180, 200. So we're going to do about 3 dB. Let's bring it up about 3. And let's see if we can get just some more level happening there. And let me make that darker. Let's see if it'll be cool if we lo-fi this. I think that's cool. Let's go ahead and add some reverb. And for the most part, you can see that I haven't left Meld besides going and adjusting that reverb on the trumpet. And we have a pretty solid mix going that's very different than where we started. So let's go ahead and turn off all of our instances of Meld real quick. And I think this is just one way to start wrapping your head around how to use Meld in stereo work. The next way that I want to show you guys is to use Meld as a bus processor across the whole song. So let's go ahead and try that out. So now we have the same mix. So let's go and take Meld off of every channel. So now we have no Melds going on. And let me just go and pick a random insert here. And we're going to put Meld there. So now we have Meld across every instance of the second to last plugin slot. I'm going to go and I'm going to make everything one group. So I'm going to grab all of these tracks and I'm going to throw them all into group A. Everything is an A. And what that means is that A is acting as a bus for everything in the song. And if I use Meld across that, I can use this for my bus processing for everything. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to set this up as a very gentle bus compressor, 2-to-1. And I'm going to go ahead and set it up so that, you know, it's doing roughly 30 millisecond attack, 100 millisecond release, just like on an SSL. And then I'm going to go and turn on my shared side chain, and I'm going to make sure that all of my compressors are compressing. Let's go ahead and use the limiter too. So let's continue on with our bus processing. We've got a compressor set up. Now let's go ahead and set up mix set. So if I go and turn off Meld, you can hear everything is quieter, everything gets smaller. This is another way to utilize it, which is as the main bus processor. And there's a lot of added benefits if you go about utilizing Meld in this regard. The number one being that since your processing is now localized to the individual elements of the mix instead of on the actual stereo bus, when I go and solo these elements to print stems, they are exactly the way that they are in the mix. So like this kick drum, if I solo this kick drum, that's exactly the way that it is reacting to the mix. Same thing with this bass, because Meld is not going to change how it is doing its job just because something else isn't there the same way that your stereo bus would. So these are just a couple ways to go about utilizing Meld in stereo, whether you want to use them for individual elements, whether you want to utilize them for group bus processing, or whether you want to use them for bus processing across a whole mix. There's a lot of things that you can do with Meld, and we're going to show you some more. So if you have any questions, please let us know. There's a lot to explore, and we're excited to hear what you come up with. Have a great day. Catch up with it. Bye.